Good afternoon from here in Bath in the UK. I'm Alan Bain, and as you know, I've been to Elches River many times, got lots of friends there, and Pat has asked me to talk to you about community involvement, how we can get involved, the things we can do and what it does for us. I thought I'd begin with my first slide, which is a picture of Mother Teresa. Now, Mother Teresa worked in Calcutta amongst the community there, and she picked up dying people from the streets. She was an amazing woman, but she said this: the biggest disease today is not leprosy or tuberculosis, but rather the feeling of being unwanted. And let me tell you, in my 40 years of being a pastor, that is exactly the disease that I have found with the people outside of the church. And so community work really begins with that feeling that Mother Teresa had, that Christ told us to have, which was to go out in compassion and look at our community and say, now, what can we do to reach these people and the needs they have? And the greatest need they have is to be wanted and known. Now we look at the second slide, and this is a picture of a very good friend of mine called Mark Naylor. Now, Mark is a great guy. Because he's he got married. He got married some time ago, and I married him. And he put a song on during his marriage service, and it said, the line was, "I'm a simple man, but I've got my God." And Mark works as a porter in a local hospital, and he came out of school with very few examinations, never went to university or anything like that. And he is a simple man, and yet he's got a tremendous faith and a tremendous gifting. And I show him as an example because what God will do is to use every gift you have, even if you think you're simple, even if you think you've got nothing to give, you can give it. Now, Mark here is shown at a PA desk. One day we said to him, "Mark, have you ever thought of doing a PA?" And he said, "No, don't know anything about it." And you know, he applied himself to that job, and he became one of the best PA people in our church. So everybody has a gift which they can use, and God is looking to use that gift, whatever it is, inside the church but also outside the church. But what is it a church provides? Well, a church provides a sense of acceptance and love. It provides an opportunity to be useful, to give of what you have. It provides a home, provides all those things, a place of safety. But that's the problem, that it does become a very safe place, but because it's safe, we don't want anybody coming into our safe place and messing it up. So there is that feel of, do we need new people? Do we want other people in? Do we want the community to come in? And this is when a church becomes, like our next slide, number 3, a fortress. Now, that picture is a picture of a fort which was built very close to me, about half an hour away, and it was built about 800 years ago. And it was a fortress. It was used to stop people getting in. It was a place of refuge where we could hide, where we could escape the marauding bandits and all the other people that were around in those days. And the problem is that very often we view the church like that. For us, it's become a safe place, it's become a nice place, but in a sense we've closed the doors. We've closed the doors, and nobody now can get in. And also we're safe in there, so we don't really want to go out. Let me show you another castle. Now, this is a picture of another castle quite close to me, and that's me and my sister outside of the castle. But what you'll notice with that castle is that it's got a great big open door. Now, when you look through that open door, you can see fields. Well, you're looking inside the castle. If you go around the other side of that door, looking outwards, now look at the view. This open door that looks out onto the whole city of Bath. And that is what it means to be in a church that is outward looking. We're not just in a fortress, we're not just being protected, we're not just being safe, but we're opening our door up for the community to come in. And just look at the view. There's a view of a whole city there. You couldn't see it from the other side. And that's exactly what happens, and it's how the church should be. But it's a risk, because what you're doing when you go out into the community to try and help people is you're taking a risk with them. You never know how they're going to react. So how did we do it here in Bath? I know Elses River really, really well, and I know many of the things that you face in your community. Our community was completely different, but we still had to stop being a fortress and start being an open door church. And what did Jesus say about this? Well, here's another slide, and this is what Jesus said. He said, "I know your deeds. See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. I know that you have little strength, yet you have kept my word and you have not denied my name." So Jesus says, I give you an open door that nobody can shut. He wants us to open the door of our church, to go through into the community and to do things. But what is the key to opening a door? Well, all of you have got doors on your house. And my guess is that at night you keep those doors locked. And in fact, during the day, you might keep them locked. And what is the way you open the door? What is the key? Well, look at this slide. Here's an old key. We use keys to keep ourselves secure. But what Jesus says is, I put an open door before you, and guess who the key is? You are the key. You are the key. You've got to be prepared for Jesus to open that door with you as the key. The key is you. So God wants to use your compassion, your love, your energy, your love for God, and your love for your neighbour, so you become the key. Let me give you some examples of what we did in our community, and they're very similar to what you have done in the church in Elses River. Well, there's the first one, number 8. It's a picture of a meal that we run, and this is the same as your group. It's called One to One, and we invite people in who otherwise would be on their own. It was set up by a lady who realised that people were lonely in our community, and now it's been going on for over 20 years, and this is the Christmas meal. Well, you might say, well, I can't do a meal. No, but you can cook. Here's another slide. 2 people in our church. Viv, who's in the front, she's 92 now, and she was cooking meals up until she was about 86, 87. And still has a heart for the lonely. And you can contribute in those kind of ways. It's the way of you using your gifts. So we provide food. There's one way to get into the community, provide food. And I know that you do that in Elses River. But do you join in? Do you become the key for Jesus to use? Then we need to communicate to our community. And here's a picture of our administrator, number 9, with a booklet that we used to hand out around the community called Lookout. We sent that out to 2,500 houses in our community 3 times a year, and we did that for about 20 years. And we've got to start communicating that our church is open for business, not a closed door, not a fortress, but something that is completely open. So do you communicate to your neighbours down your street? You don't have to communicate to 2,500 houses. What about the 30 or 40 houses that are in your street? Dropping in the church notice sheet or talking to neighbours about what goes on in church. That's how we begin to touch the community. And then here's a slide you wouldn't see very often in Elses River. It's a picture of our church in the snow. We have very cold winters in Britain, but some people freeze to death because of the cold. I know you've often got the opposite problem in Cape Town, and that is it can get very, very hot, and people are exhausted with the heat, even though I know you do have cold, wintry and windy winters too. But it's a question really of knocking on doors and going to see the vulnerable, going to see the elderly, going to see those young families who can't cope with the extra heat or the extra cold, and being there with them. Then there are things in the summer. We run children's clubs, and there's number 11. There's another slide of one of our holiday clubs where children come in. Now again, you may not think that you can run a holiday club, or that you're even artistic or anything like that, but you know, you can make cups of tea for the team. You can bring sandwiches round for the kids. You can do all sorts of simple things that means that you're opening the door of the church up. Then there's your bazaar, and there's a picture of our bazaar, number 12, and we get about 1,000 people in, I think, over that day. And I know you do exactly the same, because I've been to the bazaar in Elsies River. But it's a way of drawing the community in, offering them food, offering them love, taking away the loneliness. And there's many other things that I could go into, which you do already, but the question is whether you are getting involved in these things. So let me show you this, one of my final slides, and this is a lovely picture again of an open door, number 13, and it says God can open doors, but do you have the faith to walk through that open door? And that's always the challenge. You know, faith is not passive. It's an active thing which will take you through into the community. Will you walk through it? Let's go back to that slide that I started with, Mother Teresa. The greatest disease is the feeling of being unwanted. Now, going out into your community, taking your gifts, using them and speaking to people is all about touching that great disease of loneliness. Now, you heard the problems. The question that God gives you is, will you be part of the cure? Maybe you need to do a questionnaire with what you have to offer to your community. I wish you all the very best from the UK, and we pray for you in Elsies River, that you too will find the benefits of going out into the community. It's transformed me over the years. I've been so touched with the things that I've seen and the things I've experienced, and I want the same to happen for you. God bless you.